Welcome back, everyone. My name is Wolf, and welcome to everything we know about Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire. Now, in this video, we covered in the last one that was Spellbreaker, which is something I'm extremely hyped for and I'm looking forward to. So if you haven't seen that, you can click on screen via a card somewhere, somehow, in one of the corners. You can go and take a look at that. And let me know in the comments down below if you guys are a Necromancer main and are hyped for Scourge, because that's what we're going to be covering in this video. It's one of the ones I have the most notes for, and I'm going to be going through those ones first and kind of making my way to the ones I have less notes for, kind of as we go farther and farther down, although I will try and accumulate more and more as I get there. But, so, going into Necromancer Scourge, what this is going to do is essentially remove your Death Shroud. You completely lose your Death Shroud. You do still have access to your life force, however, so this is going to be used to fuel a ton of different abilities. Now, I had kind of a thought process of what is Shades reminded me of, and if you've ever played an MMO, or not an MMO, sorry, what is it, a MOBA, sorry, think of like wards, that type of thing, because in PvP, that's what it feels like it would do to me. What this is you put it down kind of like a mark, and it sprouts up a shade. And what this does is if you're near your shade, you can activate one of your 5 abilities. So essentially, as opposed to going into a different skill bar, you get an engineer tool belt instead. So you have access to F1 through 5 alongside all of your standard abilities and your utility skills. So there's no more going into Death Shroud, accidentally pressing Death Shroud twice and killing yourself in PvP. That's not happening anymore, but instead you're going for a more support and Condi oriented spec with the Scourge. So you gain access to the offhand torch, which is going to be pretty interesting. It's not as monumental as, say, double daggers or thief rifle or that sort of thing. Excuse me. But you will, of course, take what we get, and I am perfectly fine with Necromancer Torch. So it says it's trying to put its life force on or back onto the battlefield, and it does that through Barrier. Now, Barrier is a new mechanic they're going to be adding in Path of Fire, and what it essentially does is it's an overshield, which, I mean, is pretty self-explanatory for most games. But there will be a yellow number above your health pool, which will go up and up and up and up. Now, it'll go up, but then it will rapidly decrease. So, while you're taking damage, it'll decrease it, but it will also rapidly decrease, extremely fast over time. So, you've got to kind of make the most of the barrier, and I feel that Necromancer Scourge is going to be the best PvE kind of, I don't want to say healer, but I feel like it's going to be required, and if you're a really good Scourge player, you can save your entire raid, because it's going to be able to mitigate a lot of damage through preemptive knowledge. If you're one of those players who have a lot of mechanical knowledge, and know when the boss is going to do this, when the boss is going to do that, when the big damage spikes are going to come, you are going to be God-sent on a Scourge, because you've got access to that barrier, you can mitigate damage, and you can just add extra HP to your raid. You have that knowledge mitigation. I had the word for it. I had it, but I've lost it now. It's a preparation mitigation type of thing with the barrier, and you can save people with it just outright. So you've always got the 5 skills available. I did get information on some of them, but they're kind of like mini Ventari tablets, except they don't really move. You just kind of place them down, and then they, if you're near them, they will do things when you activate the abilities. Now, you can hold 3 charges of this, and they have a 15-second cooldown. However, there is a Grandmaster, which will make it so that you get 1 really large shade, as opposed to 3, and of course, no charges on that. So I don't really know which one I'll be going with. If it's PvP, I feel like the 3 charges will probably be better, but the Grandmaster for the 1 large one will probably be pretty good in raiding. So long as if it's like a, what's the first boss's name? Veil Guardian. If it's a Veil Guardian type of fight, where you don't really move the boss much in specific mechanics, like I'm talking first-ish phase, where you tank it in one spot and avoid the blues, etc., etc., then I feel like this would be fantastic, because you can just put it in the melee DPS and have it heal massively, barrier massively, etc., etc., and you can barrier the blues and save most people's lives, like the squishy Condi thieves who get one-shotted, like I have before. So you could essentially save their lives. Now, yeah, so let me take a look at my notes really quickly. The utility skills are called punishment skills, and this is essentially, if you remember back in Guild Wars 1, we had the blood is power type of builds. So these will steal health from you to be able to do some form of effect. So I believe there's one that you can steal your health and instead give out barrier to nearby allies, not enemies. I apologize. You can do that with some of the utility skills, and that's at a sacrifice of your own health. Now, I don't know if sacrificing your own health will give you life force. I hope so. That would be a pretty cool interaction if it did, and we can hope, right? But going down a little bit to some of the shade skills, you've got Sand Cascade, which your life force, it has a life force cost, obviously, like most of them do, and it will give barrier, and this will be fantastic for your damage prediction. So it'll give barrier around it. The thing about these shades is you have to be near them when you press the button. So you get near them, they activate it, and it does a little AoE thing. It'll give barrier to most people, or to everyone around you, and yeah, that's kind of all it does for the most part. Now, there are multiple different abilities. You've got the barrier. There's one that will do an AoE fear, so you can use it kind of offensively as well. Although I don't really see much burst potential in the shade just yet for like damage-wise / PvP-wise. But I see it more of like support type of thing, which is cool. Necromancer support is definitely interesting. Your heal will actually give nearby allies barriers as well. I didn't get the name of the heal, but it will give barriers to everyone around you. So Necromancer Scourge being the absolute king of the barrier. And then the Elite will grant might to nearby allies, convert boons on enemies to torment, and do multiple pulses. So it's going to be pulsing out torment repeatedly over and over and over again. And same with might. So it kind of wants to take the place of Phalanx strength to some extent, although I don't think it'll be able to. But it likes to try and take over that spot by the look of this. Although as we get farther down, there is kind of a throwback to the Chill Reaper style of play. However, there is also something else that I saw. I believe this was a utility skill called Feed from Corruption. Actually, no, this wasn't a utility skill. This was a Grandmaster. That's what it was. And this is actually really, really powerful. Removing a boon from someone gains you the boon. No ICD. Alright, so there's no internal cooldown, but if you strip a boon from someone, you get it from them. Now, I believe it's not even in the increment that it was. You get it higher. So say you strip one might, you get 3 instead. I don't know if it's the same duration, but there's no internal cooldown on this, and if you remove it, you gain a copy of it instantly. So you can remove someone's stability, gain their stability, gain like 2 stacks of stability. Steal might, gain might. Steal resistance, gain resistance, or gain like longer the resistance, that type of thing. So that's just, I don't even know, man. That's insane. That is honestly insane. There might be some place in PvP for like a the crit nullification style of play, maybe. I don't know, I could see that, because of course if you remove the boon, you gain the boon. So nullification with some crit, some boon removal could definitely be interesting. Combine that in with some good Condi damage, which this seems to be able to put out. And I feel like this is going to be kind of the turret engineer style of Necromancer play, which is kind of weird to say, if I'm going to be honest. But I feel like it's going to be really good at holding down a point in PvP, which of course you can watch it from all 3 sides with your 3 different shades. And if someone wants to come in, you can hit them with one of your abilities. And of course they can take damage and have the entire point covered. So that's going to be interesting to deal with in PvP. Necromancer was already a pain in the ass, but oh well. But yeah, so for the most part, that's kind of all I have for Necromancer. I went through that pretty quickly, but I didn't really get to see much Necromancer. It does look cool, though, that's for sure. It definitely does. But a support style of Necromancer is interesting. Oh wait, no, I missed one. I apologize. Which is Torment deals increased damage and causes burn. Alright? This is like the Chill Reaper throwback, like I said beforehand. which makes it so that you used to have chill basically deal damage / do bleeding. Now torment will deal increased damage, 20% increased damage, and cause burn. This is just, it's really powerful, honestly. 20% flat damage on torment first of all, and most people when they get Condi bombed they don't realize it's torment, so they keep moving while trying to get rid of their conditions and take more damage from torment. This is why I like confusion and torment builds so much, because especially in lower ranked PvP, is people don't realize they have torment or confusion on them, because I know there's been some situations where I haven't realized it myself and I've just gotten destroyed, and well, such is life, right? You can't win them all. But that's the kind of best part about those builds, and the fact that the torment does even more damage and it does a burn on top of that. Now if this actually applies the condition of burn, then that is even more powerful, because that actually mitigates a bit of condition removal. Now the way it does that is you'll apply the torment, right? But it'll be covered. This is kind of an old style World of Warcraft Affliction Warlock playstyle, is it'll be covered by the burn. So you'll have in the order, it'll go your torment's behind it, and then you've got burn in front of it. So if they use a 1 condition removal, for example, it'll remove the burn but keep the torment stacks. You see what I mean? So that'll keep the torment that gives you 20% increased damage, which keeps stacking burn on every tick. So it removes the burn on the Condi removal and then reapplies it the minute the torment does damage yet again. So it'll just keep rolling that torment, and it'll be a nice bit of, I guess, condition removal mitigation if you're playing up against that type of build. Although, do watch out for Spellbreaker, because Spellbreaker will pretty much shut most classes down like this, it seems. But I'm looking forward to Spellbreaker, in case you can't tell. But that is going to be pretty much everything I have for the Scourge. A little bit shorter than the Spellbreaker, but sadly I tried to pull as much information as I could, and in some places I am going to be running a little bit short. Now, that being said, let me know down in the comments below if you guys are hyped for Scourge, if you're, or if you would have preferred to actually have something different. And if you would have had something different, what would you have had? Now, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Hope you guys got some information on the Elite Spec you have been looking for and looking forward to. And I hope to see you guys in-game on September 22nd. That's right, it comes out in what I believe is 52 days. So I will see you guys in-game. Take care.